Thank you so much, Marco, for the kind introduction. Yes, Zumera is Europe's fastest growing corporate finance firm. And we are the only firm, as I know, that is actually using technology and AI to facilitate M&A. What do we actually do? We advise along the entire value chain, and this may sound a bit boring now, as Marco introduced, but I will tell you later how exactly we do it. But right from the product itself, we do not differentiate from other investment banks, from other M&A boutiques. We're doing fundraisers, we're doing buy-side processes, we're doing seller screenings, so very sales-intense products. If you want to do structured buy and build processes, for example, we're mainly on the sell side. We're mainly advising all classical entrepreneurs across all sectors, but we have a strong focus on the small and mid-cap transaction segment, so the segment up to 200, 250 million transaction volume is the maximum we do it. How do we actually do it? In our view, there are two things you need to master to do M&A in a perfect way. And one of them is to have the right network. So when you advise small cap M&A firms, there are usually thousands, if not 10,000 potential buyers. It's completely different to what you see in the large cap space, where you typically have only 2 or 3 handful of buyers. So we call this digital network on the one end. And on the other hand, you need to have structured market intelligence. This is how we call it. In other words, you need to know the market, you need to know the competition, you need to know who are the players. And once again here, in the companies we advise, you typically don't have just 4, 5, 6 competitors where you can do a benchmarking done by McKinsey or so. Also, strategy consultants are very rarely seen in the market segment we advise. But you need to have know-how, and you need to gather such know-how about the market, because in practice there are hundreds and thousands of competitors for each of the companies that we advise on the sell side. Let's have a look at how the market actually looks like and why there is such a huge gap. In my view, the large cap market is doing a pretty good job. You have all the large investment banks like Goldman Sachs, etc., who have sector coverages, geographical coverages, and they're doing a pretty good job here because the numbers of companies is very small. So by advising manually and doing manual research, you're very well able to serve your clients in a very good way. In the small cap market, you have the exact opposite. You have all these isolated silos of smart investment bankers working in groups with 4 or 5 people, and they are trying to advise a company that would in theory require a coverage of hundreds of people. And thinking of the state of the technological advancement in our industry, they would need to have a lot of these manual meetings, which are still the standard procedure of how to do advisory. Most advisories are also, I mean, you have to tailor them, obviously, but yeah, you need high resource requirements when it comes to personnel, when you actually want to come close to this 100% of the quality. And when I say quality, I mean, once again, digital network on the one hand, so you need access to the right buyers and investors, and on the other hand, structured market know-how. We have created a digital infrastructure, a system, which is creating multiple flywheels, in fact, and I would call them flywheels of knowledge or flywheels of quality. And just to give you a brief example of what you probably all know, how investment banks work, they have something called equity sales, and there are hundreds of equity sales traders who talk to investors on a daily basis, and there are 10,000s of discussions going on, proprietary discussions, usually also confidential discussions, and no one is keeping track on it. And you are reliant completely on the single person who covers a certain sector or who covers a certain geography. And tech can change this. And not only tech can change this, but AI can change this. So we are now able to take the knowledge and the network from every banker who works at Zumera, and being able to analyze not only the know-how that we gather in all of our discussions, but also to share the network with each other. And why is this a flywheel? Because the larger we get, the more bankers work on our platform, the more deals we are making. It doesn't matter if it's sell-side deals or buy-side deals. We are gathering proprietary knowledge that no one has, because M&A is never public. It's always behind closed doors. But for ourselves, of course, we can use this data and at the end be able to provide a better service than other boutiques are able to do. How does that look like compared to other boutiques, to other firms? I think a lot of these large investment banks are calling themselves platforms. Why do they call themselves JP Morgan, for example, is probably the most famous one that considers themselves a platform. And I think they do that because it's like a one-stop shop. You go there and you get everything you need from a financial perspective. And for whatever use case, then you are looking for, they will get the specialists in the geography, in the sector, in the product, in the segment, but you always rely on individuals doing a great job. And I think that's a good, I'm not saying that's a bad way for large cap banks. In fact, I think that's exactly how you should be doing it. But the problem in small cap is you have a market of 10,000s of players, and it's simply not even in theory possible that there is a group of person or one person or a group of persons who can be that smart that they do a great coverage on that end. And also when you look at investor approaches, and I want to say this very honestly, because we're also seeing many times failed deals from competitors in the market, and they're well-known competitors with hundreds of bankers and lots of international locations, and they simply fail in M&A processes because they don't talk to enough buyers and they don't talk to enough investors. Why don't they do this? Because the whole incentivization scheme in our industry is solely based on individuals originating deals and individuals executing deals. So we are seeing deals in the Fintech space with 6, 7, 8 million EBITDA who are great to sell, and the M&A firm only approaches something like 30 or 40 buyers. And this really, in my view, has nothing to do with a good process and has nothing to do with a good auction that M&A firms are at the end being mandated for. When you look at the sales and marketing approach, for the industry standard became sending out emails. Yeah, there's one very famous boutique that has introduced that, sending out like 300, 400 emails and hoping that someone replies back in a good way. I still think the smaller the deal gets, and I'm talking not micro-cap deals, but still deals that are of a particular size that is also able for private equities to invest in, so 10 millions and above. For these kind of deals, you have potentially a vast amount of investors and buyers that you regularly need to talk to them, but you cannot just do that for the single deal, but you need to grow into a large group which is digitally or tech enabled to share this network, to share this knowledge, and this is really where we are heading right now on the technical side, to be able to share this knowledge actively across all of our activities, And we see this in massively increased conversions on our pitches because we are simply able to deliver deeper know-how, deeper knowledge when it comes to investors and to buyers, and also know-how on a strategic side. And this is what I mentioned in the beginning. The McKinseys and BCGs are not present in the market, so there's hardly anyone to give a good sparring for the entrepreneur when it comes to strategic decision-making. One of the great advantages of our structure is that by introducing digital processes to facilitate everything that we do and to exchange knowledge and to exchange network, it also creates the opportunity that you can get away from just this single person doing everything, like a one-person company, which you very often see in investment banking, that the investment banking senior does the marketing himself, he does the sales process, then he originates the deal, he executes the deal, and in the reality, he's completely defocused usually from, I would say, normal business activities. In fact, the good banker will always focus on the execution, which he should do because it's the product he's actually selling. But obviously, he might not be a marketing expert at the same time or a sales expert. And we are now a group of almost 35 people based in Berlin and Paris mainly. And we were able to hire a great bunch of people with completely different backgrounds. Also, this is what makes us very special. So we're not full of just traditional investment bankers, but we attract talent from all sorts of incredible companies, and then having a clear focus functionally. When you look at us as a firm, Marco said startup. We tend to not brand ourselves like that because entrepreneurs struggle to like the idea to work or be advised by a startup, but they rather want this traditional advisory firm. But here in this room, I think we can admit that we are a startup. We are founded in 2021, and since then having triple-digit, highly profitable growth, and the growth is obviously based on the amazing people that work here. We see ourselves as a family, and this is one more important point I want to make because I think culturally, whenever I think many of you have already talked to us yesterday and today, and you will see that and feel that in every meeting we do. We consider ourselves, and that's also how we call it. It's not a team, but it's a family, and we want to change not only investment banking, but especially the investment banking culture. And this is why we have created the Zumera family, which is one of my two families, and the other family of mine you see on the right-hand side together with our dog. My name is Felix Engelhardt. I'm the CEO of Zumera. And my background is I studied at the Frankfurt School, did a finance master there. I've personally advised over 40 successful transactions, started to work for companies like UBS, Deutsche Bank, and have once also founded a digital marketing agency, which I sold to a German conglomerate. And I'm now on my way to bring Zumera to become the #1 M&A firm in Europe by numbers of transactions, especially, and we are now growing geographically, but also sector by sector. And with that, I would like to encourage you to approach us, to talk to us today, and thank you very much for your attention.